Alright, me and Sarge, it's the next day after the last video, obviously. And it's still real smoky. I was just looking at this, at the sun there. And this, oh, you can't. Okay, it just went behind the clouds, but it was just, yeah, I was just looking at the red sun up there a second ago, but you can see that. Anyway, so there is some, like, beauty caused by that smoke, but, you know, in general, it just kind of sucks. But anyway, yeah. A few silver linings, I guess, in that dark, asthma-inducing smoke. Anyway, I don't have asthma, but for people who do, a lot of people do, or even if you don't, you're still not that fun, huh? Oh, there we go. There's the sun. Ooh, kind of cool. Anyway, yeah. So I just gotta take a Sarge here out to walk. Yeah, you kind of went through some weeds there, buddy. Anyway, much too hot, and plus also the Smoky to bring him to work today, so I'll have to leave him at home. Like usually a lot of times, like if it's decent weather, I like to bring him to work, you know, but out in the car, because I'll come out and see him a few times and whatever. And then one thing why I like doing that is like then when I get home, it's like we can already like have him be walked by the time I get home, then I just walk in and that's it for the day. That don't have to like, but usually if I get home and you know he's been home all day, of course he'll get excited like all dogs do. He does that thing, and then but we always have to, he doesn't want to go out for a walk right away, so I have to kind of keep my clothes on and get ready, you know, if it's like late at night, you know, and then because we have to like kind of go into the room and kind of reestablish the den and just kind of hang out and be kind of pet him while he chews out a bone or whatever, you know, whatever, till eventually he decides to go out to, I guess he doesn't want to, maybe he thinks if he leaves the house at that point, I won't remember that that's the den or something, I don't know, or maybe just too excited to like leave that he forgets he's got to go to the bathroom, right, buddy?
Yeah, we're strange dogs, aren't we? Strange creatures.
A lot of trash in this. I don't know if this was either raccoons that were knocking over all these trash cans. Anyway, I mean, well, there was some good wind the other day, but yeah. Anyway. Anyway, playing this tin whistle. Back to like the thing about doing the music. I'd done some music. I'd bought a couple instruments like harmonica, which I hadn't learned much in this. A couple like on the go kind of like handheld instruments like this. And the reason why I chose a tin whistle is because it was apparently, from what I've read and everything, it was the one that was the instrument that was used in that famous episode of Star Trek: The Next Generation, The Inner Light, you know. That I can only play part of it, but it's like, yeah, that last part was just embellishment. Anyway, yeah, so that episode of Star Trek, that was one of my favorite. Oh yeah, it's really smoky out here, but I do have to still kind of do my thing where I hang out in the car before work and kind of enjoy being out. Because it's actually kind of cool out here, but I mean, I know it's bad. I'm not gonna stay here all day. I'm gonna be working inside, but I figure, okay, I'm gonna put up with a little bit. I was like, well, like yesterday, I mean, I went out just long enough to get some groceries, pretty much, and walk my dog a couple times. But other than that, I stayed in the air conditioning all day. So I basically took like the, you know, would be considered the best advice, you know, I guess, other than just like taking a jet to like someplace further. Well, the only thing is if you went further, yeah, you'd have to go further south, then you'd have to be back in the heat. So I don't know, it's kind of tough to say. But yeah, that the music. Let's see, I made some tab like this. I just quickly did this. All I had was this marker, but okay, where I just had like the starting from the top and the bottom. Usually it would just be like an open circle, but that's kind of hard to draw, so I just made it an X for like the open thing, and then you can see like the top is, you know, that's the closest to your mouth, and the tin whistle, I guess I didn't know it's really the first, I guess, wind instrument I've ever played, and so I didn't know like stuff like that actually if you blow harder actually makes like it goes up an octave, so I didn't know that, like I don't know if that's something with all wind instruments, but yeah, it's anyway, I find it's not, if you go on some site like that, I was going on the site, let's see, it's called Cutie Pie, that one girl, she's like this English I think her Stephanie. Yeah, she's got like I've if you go on some site like that and just kind of watch her look at some of the tab, you can quickly kind of like learn play a few things, kind of sound them out. I mean, I need to like that Scarborough Fair that I was playing. That's a nice one. That's like pretty that's pretty easy to play. But anyway, but yeah, the Scarborough Fair. But yeah, and you can just kind of sound. I mean, obviously, I could probably practice. There's some stuff I could probably learn, like more like I guess there's more like what they call like the ornamentation and stuff. I mean, I did a little bit of that kind of playing around with the that little flicky thing, so I could kind of do that. And I guess it shows too that like if you once I've been mostly playing piano, but it shows if you have some. I'm not saying I'm that good, but I got a little bit of beginner skill or whatever. Could do some sheet music and stuff like we mentioned the other day. Anyway, and then so it kind of shows that if if you know one instrument, it does help you with other instruments as well. I mean, even if you're not like this, I'm not looking at sheet music. I'm just looking at this tab, but it's like I'm not. But still, as far as like just I don't know, the rhythm or just kind of like just kind of like where you kind of have like a little like melody like kind of memorized, and then you kind of like start embellishing, kind of adding a little bit thing like I figured it. I found it was pretty easy to play like taps and like Amazing Grace. And then pretty easy. You start out like do 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 do. I could do anyway. Maybe I'll do more of the tin whistle at some other point. But anyway, it's kind of a fun thing you can bring along with you sometimes. Play in your car. I played it on the beach the other day. Just kind of like if you want to have bring that feeling of music with you. And the harmonica. I need to get into trying to learn that more. I did get I got this one harmonica for my dad, and I was playing that, and then I got this other one because I thought it was in the key I needed, and anyway, so. Yeah, so just looking at the music, and we had said other stuff about music in the past, so I have to take out the obligatory chart now. Let's see, well, if I have something about music that's already, if I could find it right now. Let's see. I'm just seeing right now, because I had this notebook where I've been doing all this, if you've been watching the channel, this notebook where I've been doing stuff like this, talking about different, although it hasn't really been in order because I haven't had but so I have a notebook too, so it's kind of hard. Okay, anyway, well, if you just want to say that, I'll talk about these things like the abstract part, like the Nash, like the division thing. There's something satisfying in music about having those divisions and stuff like that. That makes things like predictable. I guess that's what you consider like the abstract part of music. Then the flowing, I mean, stuff like legato, just like how. There's like a natural flow that goes with it. And then Nelly is about home. I guess you kind of surround yourself with home, but then there's also the concept of like the key and like the home key and the tonic and returning back to home. And so it's kind of like almost like circumambulating home, as like Jung would say. And then like the DJ hat trick, which he deals in archetypes, and that's just saying that you can anytime you play music, you're kind of like maybe sometimes you might be imagining like whatever, like hey, them like Copperhead Road, I'm like, I'm this outlaw bootlegger, or whatever, I'm a highwayman or whatever. You kind of like, get those kind of moods into it. And then maybe also think about, the archetype of other like famous musicians, like someone like, one of my favorites is like Glenn Gould, someone like him, who really enjoyed the music. He was really good at it, of course, I mean, just knowing the archetype won't get his skill, but maybe might get a little bit of his motivation to kind of like watch him because okay, this is what it's like for a guy who's really absorbed in his music and gets like that good feeling. That's the thing that's more transferable from like a great person like that, not his talent, but just like seeing yourself a little bit in someone like him, which is an archetypal thing, and being kind of inspired by that thing, even though you're never going to be playing. Most of us are never going to be playing anywhere near that level, but anyway, even if he'd have to, especially if he didn't start like really young anyway. So it's like even but anyway, yeah. So it's that sort of thing. And let's see, what was one other thing? Oh, back to the thing of home. He said like I think it was home. He said like he says do at the beginning of his one, if it's still on YouTube like that, and they did have it for free before, but the Genius Within, like, well, even if you got to pay like the $3 for it, it'd probably be worth it if you've never seen it. If you can't get it for free on YouTube, the Genius Within. But there's a one part at the beginning goes like, oh, music, I could never live in a world without music. Music, it surrounds you, it comforts us. So that's like the Nelly here, the ghost sheepdog mom surrounding you, as far as a character, making these psychological conditions into like characters. Anyway, and so anyway, it surrounds you, it says, and then it says like, so it surrounds you, but he also says it's like this I guess what you call the abstract part, which is like, he says what all musicians write about, whether they realize it or not, is distance from the world, so that would be usually like the idea of abstraction is usually like a type of art that like makes things be makes the world less safe, more, I don't know, that's a possibility. I got to think like how that works, but that's kind of a profound thing he said about, because he was kind of like a real kind of philosophical guy too, he made like that idea of north and stuff like that. And anyway, so that's that's just like, also I guess I could say I'm like trying to be like the Pied Piper. Maybe I should be like the Pied Piper for like Halloween next year. I can play this thing like, I guess it'd be better if you get like a regular like flute, sideways flute, that would look more like the authentic, but I don't know if those are harder to play, but I guess maybe this tin whistle is probably one of the easiest like instrument. I guess maybe it's about the same skills like a recorder. Okay, I guess when I said I never played a wind instrument, I guess I did play like a recorder like most kids did when they were like in 4th grade, and okay, so it's about the same. It's a pretty, it's probably considered pretty easy to play, but but obviously you can get better and play like more, add more embellishment to it, so anyway, so that might be okay. I think I already did I already do a thing on music theory? Oh, maybe I did. Oh yeah, I guess I did already, so maybe I won't make that again, but I guess I'm just re-talking about some more music theory again. I'm not sure I'm gonna market this one, make this like another thing on music theory, even though it's kind of hard to know how to market, because if it's just like guy hangs out, talks at random thing, guy in, I don't know, unless people were watching, so I got to put a little something that gets, the idea of like, okay, like the archetype of the sailor for that last one, even though maybe it's something I only talked about for a couple minutes. But by the way, for anybody who's watching this in the future, I decided I had all these ideas in my head that I never actually put out because I kept wanting to come up with a perfect video. So maybe I'm just going to kind of do a lot of these concepts on a fly for a while, maybe occasionally make like a video, and then maybe if something picks up more traction in the future, I'll maybe come up with a more like high-tech, really good graphic type video, with it. So, this semi blog, informal blog descript, lecture type thing, Anyway, all right, maybe shut it down for now. We'll see what else is going on during the day, but I guess we're just, I don't know what I want to do. I don't know. Just remember some of those archetypes today and just try to just enjoy the day. This 30-day YouTube mini-series is a psychological experiment using Jungian psychology to live better and experience more this summer. I'm not a psychologist, just a layman looking to apply Jungian principles of life. I'm starting with the idea that the unconscious mind is very smart and tells us things. And believing in this, I drove up to Hibbing, Minnesota, and I found that 4 locations in Hibbing, Minnesota corresponded quite well to 4 different principles called the Hibbing Quaternity. The first one is the Hibbing Ghost Town, which the characteristics is you feel the echo of the past as the wind flows down established paths. This represents unconscious voice being in the center of a moving circle, the mother archetype, home, center, castle, etc. Character I'm coming up with here to explain it is Nellie, the ghost sheepdog mom who circles the area, protects and guides. The Greyhound Museum has to do with travel and also the Jungian idea of beauty as a way of mentally feeling your way into physical objects and flowing into life in general, flowing beauty, mentally becoming part of the object. The character here I'm coming up with is Flows With It, which is a Native American cartoon character who has a magic canoe, finds all paths, glides over, portages, flows into life. Now the ore pit, it represents awe, the smallness of the individual, abstraction, and the way to in making the world simpler, more understandable. Connections, the beauty of symmetry, the beauty of maps, beauty of mathematics. And this is supposed to be Laser Nash. Doesn't look like him that much, but anyway, it's like John Nash with his cup sending out all these laser beams across, dividing the world, trying to find that order in the chaos from A Beautiful Mind, if you haven't seen that movie. Bob Dylan's home. It represents stories, archetypes, wishing to become someone else. DJ Hat Trick, what he does is he gets people into the groove by putting different hats on and sending people into different paths. It's sort of like the way we do whenever we listen to a song, for example. Here's a simplified view of the quaternity here that I'm going to be using for this 30-day adventure. And this is what it's going to more look like. I'm just going to do a simple sketch that I'll put in the video and then just kind of explain it like on a notepad like this to make it simpler so I can get it done. So I can do a video for 30 days. And so subscribe to get all 30 of those videos.